What's up, everybody? How are you doing today? Happy Wednesday to you. I hope you all having a blessed day. Can you believe February is flying already now? Um, First and foremost, I hope you all having a wonderful day. I just got so many things to talk to you about. I just want to run it at you. With that being said, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Foster. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm having a good day. Back a little tight, but otherwise than that, I can't complain. Thank you, darling. That's my lovely wife coming in here saying hi. We got some stuff to talk about, man. Really some good stuff to talk about. First and foremost, if you're watching from YouTube, subscribe to it, please. If you're on Facebook, share it if you enjoy the content of the conversation. So that's always important. Elizabeth, what's going on? Colin, how are you? It's good to see you too, and anybody else that's chiming in. Well, today was the funeral for Detective Maura. I think he's detective. I don't know if did he get promoted. Usually officers get promoted after shootings and things of that magnitude. So most likely he probably did get promoted. A lady, I don't know if you saw, she had a rant and she was talking about the police taking up the city. I think she got fired from the company she was working with. A teacher also, I think he spewed out some negativity and he ended up getting, I don't know if he got fired or reprimanded with the police department. Listen, no matter what you feel, sometimes doing cop funerals, and everybody understands the death of those young individuals were babies. I think a lot of times people feel with law enforcement, even I've said this on this podcast before, we sign up to know what we do. But to see a baby, 22 years old, even though he was doing a man's job, he was a man in that sense, and his partner get ambushed and killed. There might have to be some empathy, some sympathy. So, when you start spewing negativity like that across the land, people are going to react to that. With that being said, we still have to watch out for the crime that is happening in New York City. 14-year-old child. Shooting in the mall. Like, what kind of crazy stuff is that? With a machine gun. So we got to find out where the guns are coming from. What's up, Will? Lisa, how are you? Kelvin McElroy, what's going on? Patricia, how's everybody doing this evening? I hope you're all having a great day. I'll send my highs and hellos when I get a chance, when my people come in. Today is Kevin's birthday, so he probably will be with us a little later. Who knows? He might be rock climbing and doing something. And I think Chuck will be chiming in later. But let me give you a little rundown. Hey, Brittany. Next week, Monday, we have Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. He's confirmed he will be here. Hey, Stefania, how are you? Alvin Bragg will be here next Monday. Trust me, you do not want to miss that show. That is the show of all shows. He said some things, and people in the city have spoken. They're not happy with what he's saying, especially since the mayor's come on talking about how he's, about public safety. So we have to definitely understand that. I got my man Roland Lewis in the building. What's up, brother Roland? How are you, man? It's good to see you. One of the top promoters that did his thing for years. Kind of watched him too. He was a little ahead of my time, just a little, Ro. And you definitely put out a blueprint of excellence. So I always appreciate you for definitely showing the way. With that being said, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Foster, and I just want to give you some public service announcements of what's happening real quick. Always Soft Illusions. If you want to give somebody something, it's beautiful artwork. My wife's, this is her art gallery. She have mugs and assorted other things. Just go to Soft Illusions. Is it .net or .com, honey? .net. It's also supported by the Deadly Arts magazine, Deadly Arts of Survival magazine. I have the 3rd edition downstairs. I will show it to you. I am trying to find out which one I'm in. I'm in this one. For those that don't know, I'm a martial artist, and I had the pleasure of being doing a little segment on your boy. So if you want to find out about me, you can read about me. Also, to tell you, with the case with the young lady in Connecticut, Lauren Smith Fields, we have reached out to her lawyer. Is it Darnell Crossland, right, Malika?
Yes.
Darnell Crossland. And he will be coming on the show. We're just waiting for the date of confirmation for him to come in. So we're waiting for that. The 21st, we have Melba on. Melba Wilson from Melba's. We will discuss about her career and a salute for Harlem, Black History Month. And the 28th, we have Leon Ellis of Chocolate Mocha stopping by also to talk about entrepreneurship and how he got started. Why was he on the streets and being arrested 2 weeks ago with 4 guns? Exactly. That's a good point. So these are the things we can talk to Alvin Bragg about. And I implore you all to have your questions and things like that, because I'm going to ask him the important questions. But these are the questions that you can ask, because like it was said that he, if a person committed a crime and pointed a gun at a person but didn't use it, it wouldn't be charged as a felony. We have to find out more in detail with that. Kyle Torres in the building, my old narco brother. What's going on? Hey, Tracy, how are you? Everybody, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. The birthday boy, who I do the show with, is might be celebrating his birthday tonight, whatever he does. Kevin and Chuck should be chiming in. If you're watching from YouTube, subscribe to it. If you're watching from Facebook, share it. Like I said, next week, Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, will be with us, and we will discuss all the important things. Jose Cabrera in the building. How are you, my brother? Good evening, Vera, with the wonderful last name, Forster. Sylvia, good evening. Tonight, we're going to talk about anything that you want to talk about. We're going to definitely talk about, like I said, I'm reiterating that Lauren Smith Fields, the young lady, 24-year-old woman that was found in her home and with a man she met on a date site, white individual. And the ME pronounced her death as an OD, overdose. But due to legalities, it seemed like they dropped the ball on it. These 2 detectives were suspended. Not suspended, let's put on administrative assignment. Speaking of overdosing, right now, I don't know if you know, I think the name is Michael Williams from, The Wire and other assorted movies that he's done. Excellent actor. Assassin's Creed and other movies. Snitch with, what's his name? The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. They found his individuals that sold him the drug. I forgot what they call the case. I sent it to you. I think it's like death by drugs. So basically what happened was he purchased drugs in the street, had an overdose. They found out who the drug dealers were, and they arrested them. I think there's multiple people that were arrested in his case. Heroin and other things.
Laced with fentanyl.
Fentanyl. So Fentanyl is a strong drug, everybody. So I don't know if you indulge in drugs, but please leave that one alone right there. We will also ask Alvin Bragg about how he felt about the speech that Miss Rivera, the deceased, the widow of police officer Detective Rivera, said. What's he feel about that? Next week, Monday, we have Alvin Bragg. The next week, the following that Monday, we have Marilyn Corder, Dr. Marilyn Corder. We might talk about suicide or other health-related issues, especially since the lady Chesley Cassette, 30 years old, seemed like the world was in her hand, and she committed suicide. 29 stories, she plummeted to her death. How devastating is that? So we definitely, Frank Hurd, how are you, man? Frank just had a operation. Wishing you all the best, Frank. Speedy recovery. I'm getting fentanyl now. Oh, really? Caesar's in the building. What's up, Caesar? Pastor Kevin Graves, I owe you a call back. Pastor Kevin Graves, he'll be here on the 28th. On your night, Pastor Kevin Graves, we'll have Leon Ellis talking about Black History Month and being entrepreneurship. So with that being said, let's talk about what's happening right now in the news. Brian Flores, a fired Black NFL coach with the Miami Dolphins. They started off 1-7, and he turned them around, and they went, I think, 8-1, right? They ended up their season record. I think they went 9-6 or something like that. So I think he ended up 8-7 for the year, whatever the record was. Supposed to be interviewed for the Giants job. All right. And we're going to talk about the Giants. Listen, the Giants are my team, but I'm very disappointed in the fact that they have never had a black head coach, never had a black coach. What I found out today, they've never had a black coach. They've only had black players. Louis Riddick was interviewed last time before Gettleman came and destroyed him. Was in the running. Gettleman, Louis Riddick. Excuse me. Louis Riddick didn't get it. Supposed to be a finalist for the GM job. They fired the GM. Gettleman resigned. Gettleman resigned. And the person that was a finalist doesn't even get a second call on an interview. So Brian Flores has an interview with the Giants. Unbeknown to him, the other person, Brian the Hall, whatever his name is, another prodigy out of Bill Belichick's camp, gets interviewed too. Bill Belichick, unbeknownst to him, you know how we all have text somebody with the same name but a different last name, but we jump on it and text Brian Flores and says, congratulations on the job, on getting the Giants job. Brian says, what are you talking about? He says, I interview. So Belichick was like, oh, I effed up. So he says, what do you mean? Other Brian gets it? He says, yeah, they're going to give him the job. He still goes for the interview. Listen, man, I comes out with this lawsuit, this class action lawsuit, stating how Miami owner wanted him to tank, how black coaches are not getting jobs. The Rooney Rule hasn't worked. I think 127 head coaching jobs have been vacant since the Rooney Rule, and only think like 3 black coaches have gotten hit or something. A few years ago, you had 3 or 4 black coaches in the league. I think there's only been 8 total, or whatever the case may be. If you listen to the news, Brian Flores has come out and spoken definitely about this situation. What's your take on this, everybody? Hey, Lois, Eric Luckner, what's going on? Nemi, hey, Michelle, Hey, Tracy, what's going on? Tonight, we could talk about anything you all want to talk about, but do we honestly feel that the coaches, the owners of football teams will still have the good old boy mentality where they're not allowing people of color to get quarterbacking jobs? Stefani said, Bill, did you see the two police shootings yesterday and the school shooting? Yeah, I heard about the one officer, off-duty officer, going to work in Queens. Guys come out to the car and try to carjack him. He gets out the car. I don't know why he got out the car. Maybe he was afraid if he would have drove off, they would have shot at him. So maybe he was playing possum. He got out the car, and then they get into the shootout. They leave. I heard about also the two other officers that had got shot in a school. We have to get back to people respecting law enforcement. There was a time, once upon a time, that you knew, no matter what kind of street person you were, that you didn't shoot police officers. Right now here's an elephant in the room. Have police officers done this to themselves? Not one police officer group, not one city, but just in the general, because this is probably police officers are clumped in together. Whatever you feel about a New York police officer, you're going to feel about a police officer in Mississippi, or definitely if you Mississippi or Florida or wherever the cases are, you're going to feel a certain way. Some people don't care. I think people are getting to the point now where it's like, but who's going to protect you if the police don't protect you, right? Because right now it is getting crazy out there. Everybody's carrying guns and they're doing what they want to do. So who are you going to call? If you're not carrying guns yourself? Did you see the video where a dude is riding in his car, road rage? He cuts a car off. This knucklehead cuts a car off. Now he's driving, the car's behind him. Then he stops on his brake. Almost makes the car hit him. They keep going forward. The car's about to pass him. He gets his gun. The car passes, is about to pass him, is passing him, and throws a water bottle. Regular, probably Poland Spring. I'm sure it maybe wasn't this one, but he throws a water bottle at him. He commences to start shooting through his closed windows. Now, he didn't strike anybody, but you're shooting. This knucklehead gets caught because he tells the police and shows them the videotape. So they arrest his ass for reckless endangerment and, all kind of nonsense. What are we doing right now? What's up, Lenny Green? I'm a Giants fan too, my brother, but I believe that's about to change. The NFL owners on these teams are really showing us how much racism they against black people. If they can money off of us, they can make money off of us. That's all that matters. Absolutely. Lenny, I'm glad you're here because I know you and India are supposed to be coming back. I don't know. I think it's the 22nd. So I think please check with her and let me know. I know on the 21st, we're having Melba, and that's a Monday. I didn't think he said he was coming Monday. Stan Dennis is in the building with his eyes damn closed. Exactly, Stan. He was shooting. Mark Rose was in the building. Stefani says, now we have to figure out how to make things better because this ain't it. Stefani said, yes, I agree. The police as a whole have done this to themselves. Okay, and that's a good point. Some people feel that the police have done this to themselves. To a certain degree, I think they've done a lot of things to cause change for themselves, but I guess being targets. But you know what's so funny? It's getting crazy right now. Who are you going to protect? My brother, it's always good to see you, Stan. Everybody, Stan Dennis is in the building. His son is doing his big things at Rutgers. From a promotional standpoint, Stan was one of the few my mentors in the promotion game. And just like his successful, for those that don't know, if you went to Jones Beach back in the days, the Greek Fest and all that stuff at Jones Beach, that was the man that did it. And we definitely did big things. Appreciate you, Stan, always chiming in. Frank said, black coaches get the worst jobs with teams and they rebuild and therefore don't stand a chance. That's totally true too. And remember, we was just having the same problem with basketball, where Mark Jackson built up the Warriors. They fire him. Steve Kerr comes and they go to the championship and they run the dynasty. But now what do we hear? Steve Kerr is an excellent coach. You know who showed me that they're an excellent coach? Eric Spoelstra. Because after he lost, because I didn't think he was a good coach with LeBron and all them. Come on, you got LeBron on your team, D Wade, Chris Bosh. I could have coached that team, right? Anybody, a person without basketball knowledge could have coached that team and they would have won. But what he's doing now now he has a superstar. He has 2 all-stars, Jimmy Butler and Bam. He's showing me he could really coach. And when he didn't have these guys, he was still doing an excellent job. Also, don't even get me started on my Knicks tonight. I'm tired of Tibbs. But we're all over tonight. So we're talking about anything and everything you guys want to talk about tonight. Monty Williams is doing an excellent job. Absolutely. So whatever you guys want to talk about tonight, we want to talk about. Like I said, next week we have Alvin Bragg here, Manhattan District Attorney. Please tune in for that. Have your questions ready for him, because we're going to run it from start to finish. 6:58. We're going to start. As soon as we pop at 7, that clock hits 7 o'clock, I'm going in. And we're going to go from as long as I have them. If it's an hour, we got an hour strong. And please share it. Let everybody know. If you can't watch it on Facebook, watch it on YouTube. Go back and watch it. Share it. Because let me tell you something. My former police colleagues are ripping him apart. And I supported Al, and I voted for him. He's a friend of mine. And then when he came out with that letter to the district attorneys, I texted him and I said, yo, you got the city on fire right now. You have to come back and explain what's going on here. This is real different. You got to come back. I mean, listen, I'm all for people of color, right? But police officers don't want to make arrests if it's not going to get prosecuted. I think that is probably the one glory spot that police officers have, when they make an arrest and you prosecute it. To prosecute, I mean, think about this. You get into a fight with somebody or argument, they pull out a weapon, God forbid you don't get hurt, or you get into a fight, they beat you up. And then next you know, you call them, you say, oh, that was Bill Forster. He beat me. He beat my ass. Right? And then I'm out the next day. You don't think your ass gonna get beat again? You know what I'm saying? There isn't any fear of jail time. And don't even get us started on corrections. Listen, I am working on a show about the corrections department. Trust me and believe. I'm trying to get some intel from behind the scenes so we can discuss what's happening to the correction department. The mayor came out today, spoke heavily about what's happening. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Sharon. My man Mike Blanton in the building. Mark, always, brother. It's good to watch you. Good to see you. Jason Braswell's in the building. Yeah, definitely. Nate Crawford, how are you, brother? Tyler Hero is a beast also. Yeah, he's doing his thing. Jason, yeah, let's go Knicks, but I'm tired of Tibbs. I really am. It's like the Chicago Bulls 2003. Why is Tosh Gibson playing minutes when you got this young boy Sims? You got these thoroughbreds. You drafted defensive dudes. You just got Cam Reddish. You call him the baby Paul George. The boy is about to shine right now. He's 22 years old. He's coming into his own. Play this boy. He's talking about, I don't want to upset the rotation. What rotation? We losing. I'm tired of Julius Randle. He's not built for New York. When you don't want to speak to the media and you want to start giving fingers back, dude, you just got the bag. You're a good player, but everybody's been saying it before. You're a B, a C option. You're not an A option. You may be a 2A, but you're not an A. Last year, we caught him sleeping. Now, you're not even passing the ball. Come on, we got Evan Fournier that just came off the Olympics, and he was torching cats. And now you yelling at him, and look what Tibbs is doing to Kimba. Kimba's not the dude, but we got Deuce McBride. Play him. I can't take it, everybody. Cheryl said, hello, Malika.
Hey, Cheryl.
Yeah, Stan, I'll throw you a party. Happy birthday, baby. Kenny Anderson, my man, my Hunter College, my childhood brother. What's up, Kenny? I'm glad to see you. Tom Zane is in the building. Jay Baker, Pep, what's going on? It's always good to see you. All is well. Herrera's in the building. Kelly Hill, I called you. You got to call me back, Kelly. How are you, sis? So everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I reiterate that we're having Albert Bragg because right now his name is very hot in the news. He will be here tomorrow, next Monday. So please tune in, get your popcorn, get your questions together. The next Monday after that, we have Dr. Marilyn Corder. She will be here. We talk mental illness. I might ask her that she want to talk that because that's big. It's prevalent right now all over the world. People committing crimes. The next thing you know, they're talking about mental illness. Mental illness is real. Let's not get it twisted. But is that the escape? Oh, I got problems. What do you mean you got problems? You know, like I was on a radio show and people were talking about, well, maybe it's mental illness with this McNeil guy that ambushed the police officers. I said, why sometimes let's not give everybody out on mental illness when they commit heinous crimes, because they ain't giving Dylan Roof and all them other crazy people that shoot up schools and malls. You ain't calling them mental illness. You just said they was weird from day one. So, let's call a spade with that. Chicky, my sister's in the building. Exactly, Jason. Play the young players. Kevin Graves, telling wealthy white men what to do isn't going to work. Perhaps it's time to appeal to the moral conscience of these owners that hiring a qualified black coach is in their best interest financially. Let's see. And from a PR perspective, assuming some of these owners have a moral conscience, of course. Julie Gonzalez, my grammar school sister. How are you? First, let me just say this. What do you all think the players are going to do now? 70% of the league is African American or of people of color. A lot of people didn't back Colin Kaepernick when he took the knee. Everybody was up in arms and uproar, hooting and hollering about BS. Now, I think the players, me personally, now this is something, if you want to boycott and stop watching, and trust me, when Colin Kaepernick got paid, I started watching football again. When they blocked him out, I did boycott it. But then when he got the bag, I started watching it again. And I've been glad to watch football. It's been very talented. If you've watched the playoff games, they've been awesome. But now let's not get it twisted. Here's a black man, my Giants. I'm so upset with the Giants. It's getting hard for me to really dome that NY on my head. I might have to go to the Jets. The Jets are doing a better job of implementing people of color, Latins, blacks in their organization than the Giants. The Mauras are holding like you're definitely telling us that to have ready to give the man a job, which you gave it to this coach, David Dewhill or whatever his name is. And I was looking at him like, who's this little butterball? Like, oh wow. Sorry, Dave. Brian. If I ever get you on the podcast, it is. But I was like, this is our head coach. Like, he doesn't even look coach. Like, he deserved to be coaching. They said he's good. And then you hold Brian Flores. You have an interview, him to come in for an interview, and you already given the job to somebody else. His mentor, Bill Belichick, knew that he was getting the job. And he knew that he wasn't getting a job, and he didn't even know it. So come on, we playing games. Pandora, how are you? Stan said nothing will change until the full national government will agree to stop creating good guys versus bad guys. Until they take out the 13th Amendment accept rule, which make prisoners legal slaves, would stop the hidden ways that create good and bad for profit. I got you. Kevin Graves said the players have power. No players, no league. That's what I'm saying. Right now, I'm at that point. Like, is the union going to get in the players? Listen, we're not playing. if we're not playing, what do you have? That means no Sam Darnold, right? No Tyreek Hill, no Patrick Mahomes. I mean, even though I'm just talking about all these players that are the athletes, Derrick Henry, all these superstar athletes. If they just said, I'm going to sit down right now until you start hiring some black coaches, that'll move the needle. That'll move the needle. Because the last thing is people are not going to see scrubs. I saw on a post, this is crazy. And these are fellow officers that I've worked with. They're mad that Snoop Dogg is performing at the halftime show for the Super Bowl. They're calling him a perp. I'm like, oh my God. Like, see, this is when, Stefania, when you say about cops done it to themselves, this is how I see it. Because the mentality is you still want to hold people of color accountable for shit, but you never want to hold anything. That you want to tell us about ancestry. Oh, let the past go. Speaking of letting the past go, Whoopi Goldberg got suspended for what she said. Like Malika, what you said, she said it kind of wrong. She articulated it kind of in the wrong way. But they showed her, listen, Whoop, don't get it twisted. You cannot say what you want to say about the Jewish community and the Holocaust. Listen, I'm no fool either. Paula, what's going on? How are you? Kevin Gray said, this looks and feels like a plantation. It so is. Stefania said, mind you, while that's going on, there's a high probability that we will go to war with Ukraine against Russia. We're still dealing with that. We got a lot of stuff going on, everybody. Roscoe, what's up, brother? How are you, man? Exactly, hypocrites. They always want people of color to stop speaking about their problems. But like I said, Whoopi came out. She was a little strong with it. Could have been a little disrespectful. I think certain things you got to be a little tactful in how you do things. But we all know who runs this country, and let's not get it twisted. You understand?
Question for you: since they suspended her, which I mean, I kind of feel like they're setting an example.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading a couple of things today where people were saying, "Oh, she should get fired," and other people were saying she shouldn't. Like, I personally don't think she should be fired for that. Just curious what your thoughts are. Do you think she should? Now, how do you feel about the suspension of it?
Well, I mean, I think a suspension could be warranted. You know what I'm saying? I think we are still taught that we can't say what we want to say.
Right.
I mean, this is Real Talk Chronicles. This is the closest probably a lot of people will able to get to say what they want to say on a podcast or anything until it goes to a certain level. But the fact that, we understand speaking about the Jews is still taboo.
Right.
And maybe what she said was a little stern, and maybe like you said, she might have spoke out of turn a little. It was a little off base. But how would we have felt if somebody would have said that about slavery? You understand what I'm saying? Or the slaves in the past. So I think maybe she might have meant a certain. Well, no, she said what she said. I can't even speak for Whoopi until.
Right.
If anybody got a contact with Whoopi, get her on here and we can ask her herself. Because listen, but did they show her that she's not in charge? Stefania, she said, okay, with Whoopi, I'm not going to lie. The Holocaust, how I was taught about, was about religion. I think they were picking at straws because Jewish people click the box as Caucasian. Yeah, I guess they do. Nate Crawford said they're not going to do anything. It's unfortunate that a lot of us feel as long as it doesn't affect me, it's not the problem. Take the running back from the Steelers, Najee Harris. He and his family were homeless. A lot of them are afraid of going back to that same situation. I totally get it. But what I do feel, Nate, is that I think they dropped the ball. A lot of players dropped the ball on Kaepernick. Now, do I feel like a lot of these players are still living check to check? Shit, damn near a lot of us are still living check to check. The fact that we're getting that check, I mean, these players are millionaires, but they're probably taking care of family members and having multiple cars, and who knows if their money is guaranteed or not. And if you living in a $1 million mansion and you're making $7 million That mortgage, unless you paid it off already, those numbers are different. But I think if they come together, they got to come together on something, because this man is coming out. He's just put his whole career on the line. I doubt he will ever will ever coach again. If you've listened to him today, he's very articulate. It's not talking gibberish. He's talking about he's putting the fight in for everybody. What's your thoughts and comments on this? Please enlighten me. B, this is from Mark. B, until these athletes understand that they have the power to shut not just the league down, but the economy, things will continue to be the same. If Snoop, Dre, Mary J, and all y'all still stay blind, and all those who are performing, including Eminem, were to refuse to not play, that was a deep message to the NFL and country. Yeah, but check this out. Jay-Z has a hand. So Jay-Z, that's his thing. He put that together. So, okay, for us, he put a phenomenal concert together for us. I think, what is it, a 22-minute show, halftime. I don't know how long it is, but people of color, white people, I'm sure there's white people that like them. But like I said, I was in an officers group because, during the shooting, that's probably the most time you saw a great show of camaraderie. But then when I saw it in group, they were blaming Eric Adams. How are you going to blame Eric Adams for what the hell happened? Now, if anything, Eric Adams has been so supportive of police officers. A former police officer, he's very supportive. He's said everything he's said in the news has been supportive. Also, too, let me just say this. Eric has been on this show, and I'm going to get him back. Right now, he's extremely busy, but I will reach out to him and get him back. Hey, Karen, how are you? But I hear people of color shooting Eric down. Listen, talking about he's cocky, too much, whatever. Let me just say this. And Kelvin, you and I were there. We saw how those cops ran on City Hall for Dinkins, right? Carrying signs, calling them monkeys and all kind of stuff because what he did up in Harlem and Washington Heights, and paid for the funeral, I think, for the man that was thrown off the roof or fell off the roof. Right? Cops lost their mind. Giuliani came in, was cocky, told you and everybody in this world what he wanted to do and how he was going to do it. And if you didn't like it, you could kiss his white ass, right? Bloomberg gets the job. Koch was cocky too. Bloomberg gets the job. He was cocky. Tell you off in a minute. Also, he was so gangster, he changed legislation so he could run for a third term and did it. And then after he got the third term, changed the legislation back. So that way it could only be 2 terms again. He told you how he felt. Trump got in office, told you everything from the sun don't shine, basically showed you that he said, I don't care about people of color, kind of, sort of, I'm paraphrasing, but say there were good people on one side of the track and there was bad people on both sides or good people on both sides. Now you got a black man in office. A black man in office. This is what you want. And he's telling you, he's grabbing his crotch, telling you, I'm going to do it this way, and that's how it's going to get down. This is my city, blah, blah, blah. And we're the same ones that talk about, oh, now he's too cocky. What do you want? What the hell do you want? With Obama, Michelle said they go low, we go high. That shit didn't work. You had senators yelling at Obama in meetings. Come on, man. Now we got a man that's not going to have that. And y'all don't want to support him. I don't know what to tell y'all about yourselves sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Y'all killing me with that. Y'all really are. Roscoe, so that's where all the closet racists who feel safe there to show their true colors are. Absolutely. 40 Dog, what's up, bro? My brother, please. Hey, Melanie. Jason, it's only been a month. Give Eric a chance. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, people out here just going off on this thing, man. Tracy said, Whoopi shouldn't have said it about race. and also in humility. Marlene said that reminds me of when LeBron James spoke out of supporting Colin Kaepernick, and white female news anchor woman said that LeBron should stick to dribbling and leave politics alone. Exactly. So right now, a lot of you all, not you all here, let me be fair, and I don't know, maybe it might be some of y'all, but people, you want somebody to take the front. When to take the front, you want to tell them, oh, you shouldn't have taken the front. Now, but this has nothing to do with Whoopi. Because if you've watched Whoopi, Whoopi gets it in on her shows. I'd like Whoopi. What's the guy? Oh my God. I posted stuff. Michael Rappaport. He's a Jewish man. He came out on this thing and he said, yo, Whoopi, I support you. I like you, but you was kind of wrong what you said, right? You just need to apologize. Boom. Listen, we live in a cancel culture state right now, B. You just can't say what you want to say. Probably this is the closest I'm going to get to say what I want to say about certain things. And even here, that's why I tell you I'm on YouTube. So if I ever get bumped off of here, go to YouTube and watch me. There's been times when I've kind of gotten in here about certain things and I got bumped off. That's real talk. Trust me, I know who I am. I'm still being controlled to a certain degree. Right? But I'm going to have real talk about and say what I want to say. Now, if I get bumped, it's going to be bumped because I said it. Right? And this is my show, right? My podcast. And I go from Facebook Live to YouTube. But I'm not going to just be so disrespectful of what the Jews have gone through or any other nationality has gone through. I'm not going to denounce that because I sure don't want anybody to tell me what the people of color have gone through. I'm not going to tell any people of Latin people, my Latin brothers and sisters, what they've gone through, because we've all been slaves. I always tell people of Latin descent, all it is a train stop, 125th, 145th, 157th, 168th, on down. We just got dropped off at different stops off that slave ship. And then, the thing is, white people want us to forget that. We can't forget that. They want people of color to stop talking about that. We're not going to do that. So yeah, Whoopi, she was a little strong with that. But you know what? That was her show, and maybe she was feeling it. Right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe she was feeling it.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was supposed to get fired.
That's the point.
I don't think she's supposed to get fired now.
No.
Whoopi made that show. Let's not get that shit twisted. I'm not saying if you won't go on, but God forbid something happened to her. But you watch The View because it's a collective body of people giving good opinion, good, bad, or indifferent. Let me see what else. Roscoe says sometimes our people want to and are fighting for acceptance from their own white Facebook friends. Absolutely. Let me tell you something, brother. When I see the things in those groups, I wish I could show them, because I can honestly say now I see why people hate officers. I mean that wholeheartedly. What was so heartening and hurtful is to see a young 22-year-old man and a 27-year-old man, people of color. That was me when I took the job. Some of you out here knew me before I became a police officer. Some of you even watched me go through the academy and all that, right? I could have been ambushed. I could have been ambushed with 28 years on the job. An ambush is an ambush, bro. I don't care who you are. Martial artists, tactically, I would have been maybe I would have said, can you go get him? But the mother says, can you walk down there and get him? Right? He's in the room. Officers approaching the room. He's listening. He hears them get close. He just comes out shooting. Let me tell you something. Coming straight up to reaching for your gun. What you see on them those shows when people say, learn how to do this, and you see people shooting different people, pop, 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 pop. Come on, man. They're shooting targets. Don't get this shit twisted. It's not like that in the streets, man. Those people that's shooting like that in these ranges and these tactical houses, they're not in the street. I'm not saying they may have never been in the street at one point, but let me tell you something. When I think about a lot of people training, I'm telling you this right now. I've gone to NYPD training facilities, and I've seen people there that I know they're not tactically better than me, because my niche in the street was a tactics officer. Anybody in here that's worked with me, if I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. Or you can bring you on this show and tell me I'm lying. But most of the people that are in here that worked with me in law enforcement will tell you I may have been second to none in what I did tactically. I'm not going to say I was the best, but I was damn sure if they got a Mount Rushmore of ghosts, I'm on it. And if it's a wall of great ghosts, then I'm on it. I may not be in your top 4, but I'm 5 and 6. You know what I'm saying? Because it depends on who worked with me more, who worked with me less. Because there were some phenomenal people. My girl Kim Wiley, she taught me, right? But she'll tell you. I think Kim's in here tonight. She'll tell you how we got down. I put my resume credentials on the map against anybody else want to come on and tell me I'm lying, please. And that's why you will never see a lot of white officers that don't like what I'm saying, that'll ghost me and watch the show. They won't come on and say, Bill, you lying. They won't do that. So I can talk it because I've walked it. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. This is Real Talk on Wednesdays. So, like I said, we want to talk about suicide. Chesley Cressette, may our family have prayers. This is Black History Month. It's always Black History. Trust me. So for those out there, if there's 1 month, maybe pick up a book and learn some history about yourself. Hey, let me ask y'all a question. I was thinking, how would y'all feel with people, these young kids out here committing crimes? We talked about this Monday. If these young kids were committing crimes, if their parents are getting charged for these cases. So your son out here commits a robbery, you get charged with a robbery. Parents might start taking a better hold on their kids, start whipping them asses back to day one. Let me just give some comments. Baker said, my man JB, gotta be gangster when necessary. Did anyone see the Sunday Night Live piece about Eric Adams' swag? Funny, but spot on. Absolutely. Dolly Santos is in the building. What's up, Dolly? How are you? Dolly, I know you would love this show Monday. I have Alvin Bragg, District Attorney, in. Please chime in. You might have some questions for him. We also, like I said earlier, respect to the officers that have got killed in an ambush. And then you got 2 other officers, and then another officer got shot at the other night. Listen, I asked you earlier, some of you, do you think officers have brought this on themselves? Like, what I do dislike? And I've been victimized by this. Being guilty of being blue. I've been places where somebody has found out that I was law enforcement and started talking shit. Yeah, I don't care about the police. 187 of police. Okay. I had to learn. He's spewing that shit out in the universe. He's not talking to me. If he's turning around and pointing at me, then it's a whole different game. Thank God the people that we were around pulled him to the side and said, listen, don't disrespect that man, because he's probably one of a few people that we can talk to that will help us with little problems that we can ask him. And then also you might end up getting caught up, getting what you don't want. So we need to stop. And then I'll have to say this too. We as people as color, we don't like when they clump all Black people together, right? Latin people, we don't want to be clumped up. All Latin people are this, right? blue people don't want to be clumped up with all blue people, police officers. But you can't show them what you're not. That is a whole nother mindset. Police officers, I've never seen a fraternity of people don't care about their ethnicity. They just care about the blue. Now, this is a trying time because I'm sure Dolly can contest to this, and any other law enforcement that's in this chat, in this podcast tonight can tell you, to see those two young babies get killed, we saw ourselves, because most of the average person came on this job when they're in their 20s, young 20s. And anybody could have got ambushed. Not that an officer with 19 years on, you don't care if they get shot. I mean, you have a bleeding heart for anybody. But these people didn't even live. These young kids didn't even live their lives. Rivera just got married. He's 2 months. He just got married. Devastating. So prayers out to the family. We talk about anything you want to talk about tonight. Anybody, please, whatever you want to talk about, let's talk about it and keep it going. It's always hot and heavy in here. Appreciate you all. Oh, also too, an off-duty officer in Washington. He was at his home, dies after a deputy fires while pursuing the suspect. Friendly fire. We don't hear a lot about that. And that was a white officer that I think that got shot by another white officer. Right? But that's a quiet case. It's always something. Michelle Lee, happy birthday. Happy belated. I'm fully strong toward parents being charged for the crimes of their kids. Absolutely. Yeah. This is what I put out in the universe, everybody. If the city started charging the parents for the crimes of their kids, and let's say about this, from the if they're living with you up until 18, 19, or whatever, well, let's say however they live until you're 21 years old, right? Because if they ain't going to college, they either going to school in a city school, or maybe they're working. So 21, right? But if your child commits a crime, now I'm not talking now. Of course, it can't be an absolute. What I mean by that is, say there's paperwork you have documented that your child is problematic, i.e., pins, warrant, truancy. You're going to school, school can vouch, this parent is on it, but this child is just a badass. I don't feel you should be charged with the crime, because there's paperwork that validates that you have been involved in trying to change your child's life. Right? But now, don't tell me that your child doesn't go to school. He comes in with Jordans, iPhone 19s, or whatever's out there now, gold chains, money. He's wearing Gucci shit, and he's not going to school. What do you think he's doing? Please, because trust me, anybody my age or older or in my age group, you couldn't come in the house with a gold chain or something and your parents would be like, where'd you get that from? It's whose? They let you hold it. Why they let you hold it? Oh yeah? Their mother know that you got it? When you giving it back, you get that question. Trust me. Somebody please tell me I'm lying if that ain't the truth. You know what I'm saying? You get questioned until you was old enough to work. Then you might be able to buy a couple of little jewelry, little jackets on your own money. But then my parents would be like, yo, you got to contribute to the house. Even if they gave me the money back. Oh, yo, you got to contribute to the house rent money. What, $50? What are you talking about? Yo, give me money. You're going to have to pay somebody one day. You're going to pay here now. Knock it off. Contribute. Buy food, something. Because remember, before you got a job, your allowance came from doing chores. These kids out here today are not doing chores. You damn near can't even get them to wash their ass and stop cursing. Tell me your thoughts, everybody. Let me just see. Oh, Barbara Walters made that show. Okay, Dolly, you're right about what people. You must be going back in the comments. Roland, Bill, we as people need to learn to support one another. Eric is very charismatic. He came in at a time when stop and frisk is necessary. Absolutely. I'm going to go on the record. stop question first needs to come back. When I was working, when Dolly was working, and other law enforcement officers was in here, it was a quota. It was on our activity report. Just like I got my notes, when there was a box. How many 250s you did a month? Now we need to be able to still articulate it. Now, trust me, you still can have to articulate. You still can stop question first if you can articulate it. But if they bring it back the way it was before, you won't have to articulate it. Well, okay, I saw John Doe walking. He adjusted his waist one time on block A. I followed him on block B. He adjusted his waist. He ducked in the corner and he tucked it something on block C. I saw him pull out something in his waist and he put it back. You can stop question and frisk for that. But you damn sure better be able to articulate it. So now, yeah, Eric wants to bring him back. He wants to bring uniform and unmarked vehicles back. But then he's letting them know. He said, listen, don't go out there violating rights because you'll lose your job. That's accountability. What are we going to do? My man Eric is in the building. What's up, Eric? Long time no see, brother. Happy New Year. It's good to see you around. Roscoe, yes, I have left the majority of these groups. Yeah, man, it's a different game. Shout out to everybody watching Real Talk Chronicles, the podcast that keeps it real. Listen, like I said, next week, Monday, I have Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. He's been on this show before. I've had Eric Adams on this show before. We will try to get Eric back. Right now, we know he's busy for 36 days, 34 days in office. He's had to deal with a multitude of police shootings. Crime is still off the chain. People getting pushed on the subway station, on a platform. You got, like I said, 14-year-old boys shooting people. People are still carjacking. Please be careful. This is a man going to work. They picked up the wrong one. But then these hotheads, they started shooting at the police that when they came and tried to apprehend them, they started getting into a shootout. People don't care. This generation does not care. I don't know. Do we blame it on the music? What do we do, everybody? It's bigger. It's not everything is mental. There's something wrong. I don't even know if we can turn back, really. It's almost like it's a certain kind of purging. I don't know what to say, everybody. I'm very saddened by what we see. Mark said, we cannot get no respect even from our own community. Give the man a break. With respect to Whoopi, Nick Cannon got checked as well as Deshaun Jackson. 14 states have blocked books regarding Black history. Yeah, we need to learn more. Dolly said, may they both rest in peace, and I pray for their families. Absolutely, Dolly. You know, I was telling them earlier, Dolly, how this woman, I think she was an actress, she came down that street and she was ranting about police, Thea Blue. Listen, if anybody out here didn't feel sorry for that, you may not really like police, but if you didn't feel sorry for that young man, you're a cold-hearted person, man. That young man was 22 years old. That could have been your son. He grew up in the community. So that means you didn't like me either. You know what I'm saying? Because I was him. Live in Harlem. Just because I can live across the East Coast doesn't mean I don't have my roots in Harlem. I've been blessed to utilize our money to spread my wings when I want to. Yes, I can do that, but I still live on Riverside, and I'm proud of that. But the bottom line, who wants to go around and be in a place where you got to watch your back and strange people and when I say strange, I'm talking about opening the door and you got 2 young kids behind you. Now I got to look at my own people with suspicion. Not that I may have not looked at them before. But with so much crime in the world, people and ladies, be careful. You're going into your apartment. These men, there was another video I got, and thank you for my information, people. I appreciate you all because I look through all the stuff that you give me. You give me a lady, right, Malika? She was going into her apartment, and a guy walks up behind her. She tries to close the door. We don't know if he got in or not, but you showing him trying to bang into the door. Come on, man. Watch your back. Everybody, please watch your back. Roscoe, shootings are at ish. They don't shoot back. Exactly. Kevin Graves, true. Situations are one thing. What happens on the street is something totally different. Roscoe also said they have hooks and no skills. Absolutely, man. I totally agree with you on that. I'm looking at both social medias that I have, everybody, so please understand that. Stefania said the parents would just kick them out. Hey, then you got to kick their ass out. Listen, you out there committing crimes in the street, and I'm supposed to still let you come home and feed you. But you know what? What will our system do? Oh, you arrest the parents for changing the locks on the door. See, maybe old school. You'd be like, what, your son is bad? Then he got taught by the police. Or he got raised by the streets. But listen, let me tell you something. Anybody out here at a certain age, the hardness of criminal back in the day had manners and respect. Still knew how to say yes, no, thank you, man. Just because they went left. I'm left-handed, so excuse me just saying for those in terms of saying in terminology, they went left. They still have manners. And then they've done their time, 20 years. Because trust me, a lot of people of color have done a lot of football numbers, 25 years, 26, 21, for no murders, just drugs, you know? Brian Davis in the house. What's up, brother? 2H strong. I see you. Let me see what else people are saying. Stefan said they barely parent the kids now. So imagine if such a rule is enacted. Yo, listen. Good to see you, Dolly. Let's chop it up soon. Hey, Eunice, how are you? Eunice is like a mother to me. Kevin Graves said it's open season on all of us. Watch and pray. Michelle Lee said, I still don't understand how that happened with those young police officers. Well, let me give it to you this way. Dolly and I seasoned individuals. Shout out to Kenyatta in the building, Rouse. 2H strong. I guarantee you got three people, Dolly, Kenyatta, and myself. And shout out to all. I think I saw you, Luckner, in the building, and all the other law enforcement that's in here. Nemi. Any one of us could have met our fate that night. Let me paint the picture. Domestic violence call. Let me just say this too. It was not a son of a correction officer. What happened was somebody had to be law enforcement, just out of dispatch or whomever, saw that the prior call was a correction officer involved, I think with his lady or something like that, got into a situation. Nothing happened with that call. They took because the same last name was McNeil. When this situation happened, they assumed that was they clumped the cases together. So they all of a sudden now they look up. Only police people could do this. They research and then find out that this lady was so-and-so McNeil and said this was her son. This dude was 47 years old. This lady was 50-something when she had him, like last week or something. So she was in Virginia. I got that factual. It was not her. Right? Go to the house. Job comes over. No firearms. Because dispatcher asked that. Weapons involved? No. They approach, they get there to the job. The mother says, yo, I think she says, yo, he's a little sick. Can you talk to him? Now, police officers, now we have to be, psychologists. We got to talk and calm this dude down, or whatever, get him out the house, whatever the mother wanted. I don't know the particulars of that aspect of it. What I do know is that she said, he's in the back. Go talk to him. 3 officers, 2 head to the back. I don't know the length of the hallway. I don't know where the room was, but the door was closed. As the officers are approaching the door, this guy comes out. And did you see a gun? He had a Glock, but he had that round ammunition thing on it, which held like Lord knows how many bullets. Could have been 50, 100, who knows what it had in there. And he just starts firing. And these two officers get hit. The other officer, thank God, I think he only had like 4 months to a year on the job. He's just out the academy, I think. He had the courage. Because let me trust you something. If you've ever been shot at, it's a whole different game. And anybody in this thing who's been shot at can tell you when them bullets start whistling, it's totally different. Had the cunningness and the courage to shoot back and kill a perp. He didn't die on the scene. He died in the hospital later. Let me read it from YouTube. What's up, my brother Eddie? He said, you would think on the deaths of COVID would have taught people to cherish human life. A large population of adults didn't learn a thing, let alone teens that are misguided. They're sad at times. Absolutely, Ed. I mean, we don't cherish our lives at all right now. It's sad. Life is just shout out Norman Davis in the house. Dolly said, I couldn't come home with a pencil that my dad didn't buy. Absolutely. Like we said earlier, kids are coming home with iPhones, new sneakers. Listen, trust me, we all like nice things, but we might bargain it up faster than we go. I'm not staying in Louis Vuitton store. I'm not on Fifth Avenue every day. You might catch me in Old Navy, baby. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm going during this pandemic. And if I do go, I still got nice stuff that I used to buy. I still can fit in. I ain't put on that much weight. No. Anyway, this is Real Talk Chronicles, everybody. You know, Eunice said you are so right about that. Tracy, true, they will question you. Stan said, so you have to fix the pre-situation. Stop illegal guns from entering the city. Stop drugs from entering the city. Get education right in the city. We don't make the weapons. We don't grow cane. Facts. Let me see what else he wrote. They lie about what they teach. First, I totally get all that. And I'm all for that because listen, there's no gun stores in the city. For those that know where the gun stores at in New York City, they're downtown. There used to be one near the police academy. That's not there anymore. There's another one on 20-something. They have one up in the Bronx. They're scattered out with them. And then maybe you have some in Jersey and other places like that, or maybe upstate. In Chicago, where they're doing most of the shooting, there are no gun stores anywhere around there. So we understand that the guns are getting in the city. We understand that people are getting in. But the mayor was talking about start doing checkpoints. I mean, come on. I mean, that's a great idea. But could you see people coming home and checking in and doing things, coming back to the thing? What's up? We got Chuck driving in, baby. What's up, Chuck? How you feel, brother?
Brother, what's going on, man? I'm sorry, man.
It's all good, brother.
I've been running around doing so much, brother. It's been crazy.
It's all good, brother. Chuck, I don't know if you've been listening or you're trying to catch up. We've just been talking about everything. Okay, well, we talked about the football. We talked about the young lady, social media, not social media, that committed suicide, Chesley, Cressette.
Mm-hmm.
We also what we have next week, Monday, we have Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg will be on the show. So he will be here answering a lot of questions next week, Monday. We have the lawyer. We're waiting for his confirmation date for the young black girl, Lauren Smithfields, that died in the MED in Connecticut when she was dating the white guy. We have the lawyer coming on. We don't know when he's coming on. We have Melba Wilson coming on in the 21st. So we got a lot of things in Oklahoma. So we got Chuck and Kevin that's here every Wednesday. It's Kevin's birthday, so he's out there probably rock climbing or doing something. You know what I'm saying? But right. the one thing, everybody out there, this is Real Talk Chronicles. That's my host, Chuck Richards, joined in, co-host. I'm Bill Forster. Like I said, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to it, share it. If you're on Facebook Live, share it to your Facebook friends. Let them know. We try to give you the best content we can. And we always say, anybody, you're always welcome to join the live and come in and talk. And we can kick it anytime. You can give your opinions. I know a lot of you are in the homes, your dwellings, with your feet up and making a little fire with your toes. But we appreciate you. But we thank you for chiming in. So right now we're just talking about a lot of stuff. Chuck, also we're talking about the football, man. Brian,
yeah, this guy Flores, man, he's going full throttle, brother. He's not playing around. He wants to sue the NFL, which is funny. This will be the first time that someone has actually taken the bull by the horns and said very clearly there is racism within the NFL. Like we look at the overall issue associated with players, right? And they get drafted for various reasons and because of their talent. But when it comes down to being at the helm, especially when it comes to being a head coach, it seems that the overall population of coaches, in terms of them being Black or Hispanic, is far in between. And for him to go in so far is that he's willing to sue the NFL, whether he gets a job or not, because he needs to make it very clear that it's not just about him, it's about any future issues associated with people of color trying to get a head job as a coach. Then you know what? I applaud him. And if he's willing to be like, as they say, Kaepernick and do his thing and want to make an example and put it out there, so be it.
Let me ask you a question, Chuck. Well, since the Rooney Rule, there have been 157 vacancy head coaching jobs, and I think only 9 or 8 that got. Right now, in the last few years, there were like 4 or 5 Black head coaches, and now they showed the chart today. It's only down to 1 head coach. We were talking about, I was saying, when Colin Kaepernick took the knee, I stopped watching football. Now, you and I are both Giants fans. We watched it together. Shout out to our Blondies crew back in the days in the Harlem Tavern family. We watched it together religiously. But let's deal with the elephant in that room, Chuck. The Mauras have never hired a Black coach in any position. Line, defense, offense, special teams. They've never hired a Black coach. That's stated today as a fact. Mm-hmm. He was coming for the interview. He was coming for the interview for the Giants job when they were already going to give it to the other Brian. Belichick was texting, like if I text a Chuck, I can have you in my phone. I got a Chuck Baker. I could have a Chuck Richards. If Chuck comes up first and I text, I maybe say, "Yo, I'm going to see you later." And then one Chuck, we've all texted the wrong person at one time, and he was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" He was like, he knew that his man went. And both of them were his proteges. He knew that they were going to get a job before he even knew it. So, like Louis Riddick went for the interview for GM when they got the job. Louis Riddick was a finalist. It was supposed to be him and Gettleman. How did Louis Riddick now not even get the GM job? So the Giants have shown us a history of not picking people of color. We're good with throw the run the not even throw the ball. Because Geno Smith was a gift. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't going to play. But we're good at tackling you. We're good at running the ball. And we're good at catching it. And we're good at blocking. But we're not good at coaching. And when we talk about this, best man for the job, trust me, I have no problems with a white coach at all. I'm never going to say that. But what we have seen in sports, and I gave the reference to Golden State. Mark Jackson took them to the promised land. Mark Jackson took them to the top of the hill, and then he got fired, and then Steve Kerr took over, and now Steve Kerr is known as one of the greatest coaches in the game. How? You know what I'm saying? Right. Steve Nash, you got a firepower. Look, AD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, and he got a job. They're going to call him a good coach if they ever win a chip. You understand what I'm trying to say?
The funny thing about that, even with that team itself, it's not that he built that team, right? He inherited, right? And that was based on the back of the gentleman pride in making a decision not to make him the head coach. So they were groomed by a black man throughout the course of their season, and then all of a sudden he gets it. So he didn't inherit. It's not like he worked from the ground up to create that team to make it what it was. They were refined by a coach prior to them, and then now he's being called the best coach in terms of Golden State, which, honestly speaking, I find it to be an insult, but that's a different story. I mean, I love the players themselves, but the issue with stuff that I have a problem with is that we have always been good enough, and I don't want to put it out there, but we've always been good enough to entertain.
Yes.
Right? We're good enough to be in a position to entertain, but we're never good enough to be put in a position to lead. And that's what I have a problem.
Yes, I totally agree. Let me just read some comments coming in. We were talking to everything. We also talking about what we were talking about when I was talking about Monday, when I was saying how for children that live at home from the ages of, say, whatever, juvenile to 21, that if they live at home, if they commit a crime, their parents should be charged with the crime too. Then, because we were saying when we was growing up, and you and I are the same age, we couldn't come in the house with a new gold chain or Jordans and not have not our parents question, where'd you get that from? And you come from Caribbean descent, so you got it with an accent. Where you come from, Charles? You know what I'm saying? They was like, where my parents from the South. Where you get that, boy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about parents that I got West Indian parents. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So the minute I came in, boy, where you get this thing from?
That's what I'm trying to say.
I was asked upside down everything and anything that I brought to the house, anything that looked remotely out of place, I was questioned about. And God forbid, man, if I had the wrong answer, or if I had the wrong answer or no answer, I was getting the God only knows. My father would hear, my mom would start first. My father would be in the back room and he would hear me like hesitate. And he would come out of that back room. And I know, it's all, I messed up.
Yeah. Let me just read some comments real quick. So, because you got to get you caught up on what we're talking about. Jason said, what about just taking the police out of the cars and putting them on the corners? That's good. But a lot of people don't know. If I'm on 125th, they'll do sell the drugs on 124th. You know what I'm saying? So you got a cop walking back and forth. Now, a lot of times you may see in neighborhoods, you may see cops on pressure. We call it pressure points, one on one corner, one on the other. But then, if I'm on 7th, they're going to walk to 8th. If I'm on 8th, they're going to walk to Lenox. So it's never going to happen. And then, people are going to call and you're going to have them running around on foot. So I do believe, I don't know my former precinct, which I haven't had a problem. I don't know what they're doing. If they still even have like foot posts. I have no idea if they do. I mean, like I said, Chuck and I, Dolly, all the people that's in here, we've all come from an era of foot posts. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, I don't know.
Prior to my departure leaving the job, almost a little over a year ago, they still had them put in what's called, that was the impact lieutenant for the Bronx, for the 4-6 precinct. And they still continue to put them on foot posts. They double them up. I don't know if that's what they still do, but I know when they were on an impact post, and then when they went to actual precincts where they get trained prior to being assigned, they will get like a taste of a foot post, or they'll be in an RMP, so they get an understanding of the precinct that they're going to be assigned to, which I thought was a great idea. But I know definitely when they were in impact, they were still on foot posts at the time.
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, everybody, we need to find out what would you want to do? That is a question. We're talking about anything and everything tonight. Brian Flores, how do you feel about that? How would you feel? Chuck, I told him earlier, I said a lot of players dropped the ball on Kaepernick. They didn't believe in what he was doing. But I said, I don't think they're going to drop the ball on this one. I think the players might galvanize behind him and say, yo, listen, we support this dude. You know what I'm trying to say? Right. They might.
Well, this is the time that they should galvanize, honestly speaking. I mean, now it's all about, it's messed up in terms of Kaepernick, the way that he's been ostracized, and even to this day, he still can't get a job, whereas he's one of the most prolific quarterbacks, and all because of what his personal beliefs and what he felt in terms of police brutality. But now you have this coach that's saying very clearly, look, on a larger scale, there are not enough black or people of color that are head coaches. And that whole thing with them like kind of putting his name out there saying, oh, we're looking to interview him for the Giants, knowing good and damn well they had no intentions. They just wanted to be politically correct by saying they had intentions on interviewing someone of color. But
So
they had
basically, it's like going for a job, and I think a lot of people here know this. We've all experienced this. You go for a job interview, but they already got who they're going to pick for it. And I'm not saying they won't give it to a white person, but you could get, I mean, there's a time when people of color, we were going against each other because a woman could fill two checks, a minority and a woman. And you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
And she was a woman of color, Spanish, whatever, of Indian descent, whatever her ethnicity is, Asian. She filled two checks. She was a woman, which is still considered a minority, so people don't get it twisted out there. And then now that's how we start competing against each other. Let me read some more. Eunice said, it is the generation, they have a sense of entitlement. They have no respect for themselves, so they can't respect others. Brian, what's up, brother? He said they need to bring back the NSU teams back, also gang units. That's where the gunplay is coming from. These units need to be back in the playbook. I totally agree with you, but the one thing that I've been hearing from my sources, the officers out here are so young and they're so afraid of losing their jobs. So, you're not going to bring a Chuck or you and I back. I would love to be a part of some kind of training. But you know what I would say and what I would do and tell these officers what to do, damn near they might lose their job. I'm sure Dolly would too, right? Listen, what Brian, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who's retired. Like, I got Rock in the building. What's up, Rock? Charlie Beck, my man. So what the training, we couldn't train them because they
right.
Listen, I'm not taking, listen, when I could watch a video and see, I wish I could play that video we have. These officers fighting this dude in a store. I think it was I don't know if it was Dwayne Reed or Target or some supermarket. It's a recent video. Mm-hmm. And I think I sent it to you, Chuck. Yo, they hitting him on the back. They love tapping him. He gets right up and they out of breath walking. Like, yo, that wouldn't have never happened.
No. Because once again, it's the fear of other people with their phones, with video, and then all of a sudden, let's say, I'm not gonna lie, I was always a fan of when somebody acted out of sorts, and I really wanted to catch him off guard, I would like fake with my left, I would give him a chop to the fucking throat. I'm sorry, that was just me.
Yo, I'm a martial artist, so I'm throat chopping all day.
Right. I used to throat chop people all the time. Fake them to the left and then boom in the throat. And they go, and I go, breathe. But guess what? It stunned them. It fucking took them down. I'd be able to handcuff them, no issue. Now, I don't know. Do something like a fucking chop to the throat. They're afraid that it's going to be looked at, as excessive. I didn't use a gun. I didn't hit him with my nightstick. I hit him with my hand. And even then, by doing something such as that, it's inferred as maybe it might be excessive. And this is what they're afraid of. And I get it. But once again, you're police officers, man. Your job is to take control of a situation. I can't. It really bothers me when I see kids hesitate in terms of doing what they know is in their heart to do because they're afraid of losing their jobs. And I'm afraid that some cop is going to hesitate. And unfortunately, we had 2 officers that lost their lives. They were ambushed. That's a different story. But there's going to be a cop that's going to hesitate, and his mindset is going to be more set on whether or not he's going to lose his job or possibly be incarcerated, as opposed to taking police action that could either save his life or to save a third party's life. And that's the most disconcerting part about any of this at this particular point.
Yeah, so I mean, let me just get back to some of the comments. Shout out to my man, my Mike man, Malibu's checking in from ATL. Shout out to everybody. Ladybug, I see you. Tracy, she said, real talk. I never felt that NYC was this bad, but it's gotten worse. I feel awful for for others that can't get out. Like some of us that were fortunate enough to move to the suburbs, black on black crime is shameful. After Latina Brown from the Bronx is in the building. Tracy also said, that was Tracy Redding, Tracy Gordon. She said, do you feel that the officers should have approached the situation differently? I don't feel that they would have been able to do that. It was unbeknown to them that this dude was in there and, with a gun. They probably
They were told when they showed up, they were told there was no weapon.
Absolutely. So like, how can you, say anything?
They were told very clearly that when they walked into the premise that there were no weapons. This guy had a gun that had a 45 round clip, and he had some other assault weapons that was in there as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna share something with everybody. This is what's happening right now to the police department. This is what you're seeing. This is recent. This is a recent video of officers fighting, trying to apprehend somebody. I'm gonna roll the tape right now. Watch this.
Yo! Hands on your back! Red Marshal, Central Police! Yeah!
Now, I don't know. Do y'all want to see that shit again?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, rewind.
Yes.
That's no, I'm not going to say it says ridiculous. I can't.
No,
I can't
it is ridiculous. So look, this what's happening today. Look at this shit. People in the background still shopping, walking in. Look at this. She taping it and some shit, I think. People over here in the corner watching on his radio. Yeah, he didn't know if that was his gun, though.
Red Marshal, Central Police!
He called it Central, please. No, he just need an ass whipping.
Do you want me to stop?
Yeah, you can stop this weekend. Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can come out of there. Everybody. So this is what the police department has come to now. Cats can't even apprehend. And now I'm going to show that to Alvin Bragg next week. Because even if they were arrested him, would he have got charged with a crime? Because it was in a store. I don't know if it was like Marshall's or someplace like that. And that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. And I feel sorry for those officers. And I always say, what people always say, yo, you need to learn how to fight. But I know the officers that don't know how to fight would have still been able to handle their business with that. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Oh man, that I don't even know what to say about that, man. I mean, the other thing that I didn't see either one of those cats. They didn't have a taser.
Yeah, it was on his hip. The perp almost grabbed it.
Sam, why did you got one or two? Why didn't somebody just pull out the taser and just zap the cat? I mean, just give him a couple of volts. I mean, it sounds messed up to say, but if you don't have defensive skills, but you're that close to him, you're on top of him, right? You pretty much are sliding back and forth on the ground with him. Then at some point, pull out your taser and just get a guy a zap. I mean,
yo, you know what that looked like? That looked like when you was with your friends and we started play fighting and wrestling. That's what that looked like.
No, you're right.
Yo, listen. And it's so sad. It looked like when my friends and I were little in school, we used to pick superheroes and who was going to be the X-Men and who was going to be Captain America and Ben Graham and shit like that, and we would wrestle each other. And it was like, yo, we got one. He caught him off guard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was wrestling at the locker room, and he got out. He was able to get out. Yo, dude got up and left, and dude was like out of breath. Yo,
Yeah,
first,
he's puffing.
and then dude goes back and looks on the floor like he looked for his phone. Like, yo, dude, this dude. Yo,
That's ridiculous, man.
come on,
That is
man.
very ridiculous. I didn't want to use the word ridiculous, man, but
No, you can use it.
that's embarrassing. That is just totally embarrassing.
Like my man Eddie said from YouTube, he said, wow, those officers seem like they have no clue on how to control that guy. Seriously looked like play fighting. It really did. Eddie, it looked like we was playing fight when we was on the island. I could never see no shit like that before. What's up, Terry Miller in the building? Dolly said, this is the type of job that they want to send social workers to. You're absolutely right, Dolly. It's disgraceful right now. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Chuck Richards. It's Kevin's birthday. He's out climbing rocks at night. He's doing night climbing.
Some rocks someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So also, like my man, Jason, I see the Knicks are losing. I don't know what's wrong with these guys. Well, I know what's wrong. Like I said, we was talking about the Knicks earlier too. I'm tired of Tibbs. I'm ready to get his ass out of here. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you don't. Cam Reddish is coming into his own. You riding Julius. Julius ain't made for New York anymore. Yeah, Julius, you was good last year. I wasn't mad that you got the bag, but listen, first, New York, you don't understand. As a New York athlete, you make a bad play, New York is going to boo you. That's why too many people are built to play in New York, man. I'm talking about football, baseball, basketball. If you can't take a boo, listen, this ain't your wife. She's supposed to love you, but she'll still get mad at you. You know what I'm saying? She'll still be like, yo, honey, why you didn't pass the ball, dude? You know what I'm saying? My man Baker said, the Rooney Rule is just a BS smokescreen, so people will think the league is actually doing something to promote minority. You're totally right. It is a smokescreen.
Yeah.
40 Dog said we need our own Negro League in all athletic activities. That would be great, but it wouldn't happen. Once upon a time. Yeah, like you said, Baker. I'm sorry. Mark said the NFL is a joke. How ironic to have players run around the EDP races, but the owners are low-key racist. Absolutely. Yeah, on their helmets. Racism. Stop racism. Ain't that cute? Shout out to everybody that's chiming in. 40 says, sounds good, but the money has the last word. Absolutely. Baker also says, because of the owners hate his butt for bringing discredit to the league. Absolutely. Because Flores is never going to get another job. Trust me, if he gets a job now, the only job he's supposed to be a finalist with Houston and New Orleans. We'll see how that shit goes. Ha 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 ha. You know what I'm saying? We'll definitely see how that shit goes. So Jason says, the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Absolutely. Well, that don't work for a lot of us. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? Roscoe, you said you had something in here about mental illness. Let me get back to that. I want to read that. I don't want that to go not read. If I can find it, I hope I can. Excuse me, everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, and that's Chuck Richards, co-host. Norman said, my son lives on his own, and still I asked him where he got something, and I do check his house and wish he would ask me why I'm checking his house. Absolutely, Norm. And at 6'8", bust that ass, because I knew you would. Kevin Gray said, right, rock climbing with his Bigfoot friend. That's what. Happy birthday, Kevin. We know you out there somewhere.
Yeah, happy birthday, Kev. Yeah.
Vera said, when you're in a situation, it depends on the availability of cover and your reaction and response time. With the amount of ammo he had available in his clip, he had more availability than all three of those officers. Let me finish reading what she said. Officers, absolutely. You're totally right. That was an ambush. There wasn't anything. Chuck, 30-some years. If I'd have had 20-some years, Dolly, 20-some years, 30 years. Anybody, officers here, let me tell you something. We would have got shot. Oh, yeah. That was an ambush. There's the only tactics, and you still could have got shot if you would have said, mother, you go open the door for us. right?
Mhm.
But then he was coming out ready. He was coming out ready. Listen, it's like anything. A person, if you don't have your guards up, a person punches you in the face, you're going to get hit. Don't mean you see, but see, fighting and shooting is two totally different things. So let's keep that in mind. Let me just read some more comments. Roscoe says, start your own ish and our own football league, etc. We have enough black wealthy people to do it. We definitely do, but we probably start fighting because we everybody wants to be a leader. Nobody wants to be a follower. That's just a shame of this. Paula Matthews says, I'm friends with Stan Dennis from my college days and Bill Forster from my NYP days. My worlds are colliding. That's it. Stan is my dude, Paula. Paula, you would be a great training tool for NYPD rookies. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think I would too. Because let me tell you something. First and foremost, shout out to my man Dwayne Davis in the building. Big D, what's up? Roscoe said, these new breeds are soft, bro. No comparison to us. Absolutely, Roscoe. Dolly said he would have been out before I know was dry. The ink was dry. Absolutely, Dolly. 40 said, what happened to their combat training? Everybody, please. And I say this, there's no combat training. Either if you were an inner city person, you knew how to. Let me break this down for everybody real quick. Chuck, give me a few minutes with it because I got to give it to them.
Do your thing, brother. Do your thing. Preach.
When you're an inner city child, no matter what your ethnicity is, you was taught, don't let anybody bully you or take your shit, right? Because your mother and father would tell you, I work too hard.
Yeah.
What you mean you lost your pencils? What you mean you can't find your tie? You know how much that shit costs? Now I got to get another, what? I got to pay it? Listen, I'll beat your ass for losing something. So the last thing somebody was going to do was take something from you at school. Let me tell you something. I got in a fight in school, Our Lady of Lords, for somebody. And now crazy as this shit is, every pencil was number 2. I thought the person next to me took my number 2 pencil. All I was thinking was like, yo, I can't go home without this number 2 pencil, B. So I can't go. And I damn near got lead poison because that person stabbed the shit out of me. We were stabbing each other in class. Julie, I don't know if you're still on. I don't know, Miss Sonia. This is in Miss Ponce's class. Hey, we were stabbing each other left and right with that damn pencil, bro. So I'm saying the moral of my story is you were taught, no matter if you was a fighter, and nobody back then was a formal fighter. Everybody was just, yo, don't mess with me because my mother, if I go home, my mother and father going to beat my ass, so I got to beat your ass. You know what I'm saying? That was the whole gist. Most of us on here came from the school. Don't come home and tell me somebody hit you and you didn't hit them back. Right? Now, this is the mentality I'm saying we learned. What your parents tell you? Don't go starting any trouble, but if trouble comes, you do what you got to do. If you pick up a chair, whatever. So as an inner city person that became a law enforcement, you weren't a punk because you were taught from a young age not to be bullied. That has nothing to do with combat training. That has to do with tactics and being able to de-escalate situations. Because the bottom line is, you don't want to go in a situation. I don't care if I want to go in a situation and a man is 5'2". I don't want that problem because I know some 5'2" cats that can kick some ass. So I don't want that smoke. You know what I'm saying? Just like and Chuck and Dolly and anybody else, law enforcement in here that knows, if a person don't want to be cuffed, you can't cuff them. It takes multiple people to cuff one person. It really does. So that about why you see piling up on a rabbit, that's why people pile up on a rabbit, because you have to try to cuff a person. But going back to the tactical training aspect, an inner city person knows how to de-escalate the shit. And then they know how to escalate. Because what happens when we go someplace, and we all know this in the job, when they say they hooked us, in the street, somebody says, yo, the young people now say, yo, they caught my vein, or they go to me. You know what I'm saying? It's when somebody say something slick, you be like, what? Like, who are you talking to? Because once you start hitting the person with who you talking to, this is escalated to almost now I might have to put my hands on you. But the beautiful thing about that is I don't care who I was, what I've studied. If I'm about to interact with a person like Chuck or anybody, any man, big, small, unless I'm ready to really give him the business by myself, which I've done, but I got that radio, Central, 85 me, some more cars at this last location. Then you hear Central, be advised, 8 Henry, sending multiple cars at so-and-so 103, 123rd Street or something. And then next thing you know, boom, boom, right? Now, we all get tough when we see our brothers and sisters, whether biological or just in color. You know what I'm saying? In uniform. So listen, that's why there's no tactical trainers. I came on a job, I was already in the martial arts. Some people already had some kind of formal training. Some people don't. But then trust me, believe me, just because some people have, and there's some people that have had training that still can't fight. They fight, they good in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Hard is who you are. You understand what I'm saying? Hard is what you are. You don't have to be a martial artist or a boxer or whatever, Muay Thai and MMA to have some heart to say, yo, listen, you're not going to talk to me that way. And I'm not going to. And listen, anybody that's been in a scuffle, especially NYPD family, you jump on that thing, you take your radio, you hit them upside their head. Listen, Chuck, tell me, have you ever seen a NYPD radio ever break?
No.
I've seen a lot of people get clumped with them shit.
Right. I've seen a lot of heads break, but I never seen no radio break.
I've never seen them long ass radios we've had break.
I'm sorry to say.
I've never even seen them come apart from the battery shit. I just
right,
seen them,
never, man. Like
yo, listen, everybody, this real talk shit right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, come on, man. People, let's keep it 100 out here. This is real talk. This is you want real talk. I'm giving you real. So there's no such thing as formal training. That little speed cuff shit that we learned in academy, that 2-day course or that 1-day course. And the only thing, if it went 2 days, is because not all the people in your company got to do it. So they did it the next day. You know what I'm saying? Because the bottom line is they damn near ran you around the gym or outside in the park for damn near the whole class.
Yeah, the whole class. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You doing more calisthenics and running around, or you doing anything in terms of like hand-to-hand or any type of combat.
Word, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They got you in shape. You came out there with a six-pack, but you still couldn't fight. Shit. Listen, James Baker said there's no repercussions for the racist owners, and they move to ensure minority ownership in the league. There's BS will continue. Absolutely. Kevin Gray said that's right. Brian Flores went from former NFL head coach to activist. He sure did. Jason Breville said, I feel for you Giants fans. I know. Listen, Roethlisberger, Big Ben, he retired, but you know what I'm saying? Look what happens. He get charged with what, statutory rape, and nothing happened to him. So, it still works. You throw the touchdowns, you still the golden child, baby. James Baker said Roger Goodell is just a figurehead. If the owners that must be sanctioned to control the league, not Goodell. You're absolutely right. 40 said white privilege. Mark said B. I think y'all had a black GM. Who? Nothing. The Giants ain't never had a black GM. You was talking about General Motors. You ain't talking about you ain't talking about the Giants. Finally says exactly, Chuck. Kevin Graves said the big three of the Brooklyn Nets had difficulty staying on the floor together. Absolutely. James Baker said the Rooney test is just be a smoke screen so people will think the league is actually doing something to promote minorities. Yeah, thank you. The league definitely. Sonia Patton is in the building. Childhood friend. Her mom is in the building too. Condolences, Sonia, to your brother. May he rest in peace.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Rashonda Weathers, what's happening? What he said sounds good. B, the money has the last word. Exactly. Jane said because the owners hate his butt on bringing discredit to the league. Let me go back to catching up to your opponent. Said, shout out to everybody charging in. My man Denny Moe, baby, the original Denny Moe is in the building. What's up, brother? Not the barber, the original Denny Moe that used to dance with me at Zanzibar and Broadway International and used to dance with Dougie Fresh. That Denny Moe, everybody, the promoter. Roscoe said these new breeds are so soft. Exactly. Baker said, man, vets will tell you that young officers are a new breed and don't always have the heart to do the job and handle the purse because they're afraid to lose their job. Absolutely. Yo, Baker, we got to definitely one day, we have to get you to come on and talk about what's happening in corrections, man. It is a deployable what's happening to the corrections officers. I bleed for y'all. I really do. Stefania said, what the hell? Why is this so hard? I don't know. I just think they know what they're doing. And embarrassment. What the hell? Yeah, exactly. They should not be cops. Yeah, Roscoe, that was crazy what they was fighting. Looks like poor training, honestly. Yeah, it may have been. Vera said chances these guys were on drugs and those officers forgot their spinach. They also didn't have their act together as far as who is doing what. Listen, all those people watching, I'm gonna tell you how this would have working, or Dolly or any other female officer or male officer that day. When you would have saw that fighting, you would have eventually saw that man get picked up or body slammed or me break his leg. And then everybody would have videotaped and said, oh my God, he went too heavy. Listen, I'm not getting my ass kicked. I didn't sign up for that shit. You know what I'm trying to say? Not over some stealing some clothes. You know what I'm saying? But then it would have been on screen, Officer Foster. Then you would have had my picture in the news, excessive force. Now I'm being judged by all the people in there that want to call me. But now when I got here, oh, he's a problem. Or Officer Richards. Now we're the problems. Sometimes you be careful what you ask for. Now have officer, listen, I say this, and anybody that's worked with, I've never touched anybody that didn't deserve to be touched, right? And I've only got one CCRB, and I got that before I even went to narcotics, because narcotics was a free fall. Trust me. I was out there with the crack epidemic. Crackheads was even swinging and shit. I think my whole partner Kim here, she'll tell you we were out there scrapping. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah, that's true.
And I was a ghost. So listen, we was fighting base heads from drug dealers to the enforcers. You go on a set, you had the enforcer, his little lookouts. Everybody thought they was tough. Until somebody
got touched.
until somebody started spitting up some teeth. Then everybody then once you saw the big one go down, everybody was like, yo, no problem, officer, you got it. Why you so mad? No, I'm not mad. You just got me hot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Right. See, I can tell this now because listen, it's been so many years. Yo, exactly, Eddie at the radio. He said, Bill, you know me, I would have jumped into the help. Yep, I might have regretted it later, but see, exactly, because some people care about seeing other officers. Like right now, I don't even get, Chuck and I, we don't even get wins, or Dolly, you don't get wins for helping another officer right now, helping them. Because, that next thing you know, we'll leave there, we'll probably do it. Because I'm definitely not going to stand by and see an officer get his ass beat. I'm not going to do that. That is not happening while I'm walking down the street. But then, as you get older and you got to understand, you're married. I can do, Malika's there. Like, I got to think about repercussions. So think about this. I'm in New York. We're in a store. I see an officer get in a situation. I help out. The person gets arrested. And then the next day he's out for fighting.
Right.
That's some
and
real
the thing about that is also bizarre is that, let's say you facilitated and helped. The first thing the officer is going to say, well, I need your name. Where do you live?
Yeah.
Right. And all of a sudden, because now you have these disclosures, right? Where the guy's out the next day, and because they have to disclose everything associated with an arrest, your name, your public information, and everything is now given to, let's say if it's something where the guy has to show up again for court, that information is now privy to the perpetrator, which before it was something that was usually sealed. And that's not the case anymore because of the way they've changed the laws associated with victimology and having to do directly related to bail reform. So now your information and your name is now given to the defense attorney. And you were just trying to help out, Joe Cop was getting his ass kicked. But now the defendant has your name and your address of where you live.
Yeah. I just want to shout out everybody that's watching and chiming in. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Eunice said, "Why isn't that they don't have no black owners in the NFL?" I don't know. Their money ain't long enough. I don't know. Eunice. Dolly said, "Damn right." Paula said, "Bill, you are so right. You were more scared to go home and face your parents. You would fight anybody. You sure have problems." Yeah, Dolly said some of these kids have never had a fist fight. Exactly. Jason, you're right. Randall needs to be benched, shooting away. Brian, my man said back in the original academy tactics training, plain clothes, baton, etc. training, you had to fight the red men, 5 muscle bound tactical instructors in red padded suits by giving them the name Red Man. Red Man, they made you street ready by fighting you. It was a baptism by combat. Just to get you prepared for a fight. The politically correct new academy canceled the Red Man program. Wow, that's when you came out, because that wasn't there, Red Man with me. Or
Yeah,
Chuck.
you know what? He's right. Yeah, that was the only time the plain clothes, when they did the plain clothes and the ass training, you actually fought. Like they had you on the ground, you was like breathing heavy, and you better fight, because otherwise you're gonna get wiped out. And that was different. Also, when they started the undercover program, we had instituted the same tactics where, as an undercover, God only knows, you get thrown on the floor, somebody's grabbing your gun, you have to do something to fight for your life in an apartment. The same thing. And it's brutal. I mean, it's brutal, but it sends a point that, guess what, is either me or you. I got to get out of here. I have to survive one way or the other, so that's something that needs to be reinstated. But once again, we're talking about a very softer and gentler police academy. So, I mean, you got guys that if they can't even make the run, they let them run in the middle of the gym with a water bottle or get on a bike and pedal.
No, Chuck, seriously?
My man. I'm not, my man.
Everybody like that?
Yeah, my man. They give them water bottles, and if they can't make the run, they put them in the middle of the floor to have fights, and they actually like pedal while people are still running around the gym. My man, I can't. Don't take me in.
I'm sorry for laughing. Listen, I'm glad we came through when we came through, B. Yo, listen, we damn near ran around that track. They didn't want to hear that shit about asthma. Hit the pump on the run, B. Listen.
Talking about water? Give you water. No. Nobody got any water. But I guess based on the fact that they had, I mean, unfortunately, there were a lot of things that happened to recruits where they passed out. Some of them may have, they had like heated jaw exhaustion. Some of them, I think one may have actually had a heart attack or two. So They had to change the dynamics on how they were actually doing the training, and that's why it got a little softer, a little gentler. So when someone says, "Oh my God, I'm having a hard time breathing," whoa, okay, hold up, off to the side, get on a bike, give me some water. Are you high? So that's why it was engineered that way, unfortunately. But I don't know if that makes someone tougher, but so I think some of them actually knew that was what they could do. So they would go, oh, my heart, my chest. They go, oh.
You'd be like, yo, sit your little punk ass down and go ahead, get some water, man. Shit, wait till you run and shit. Yo, hold on. I got a question from YouTube. A ghost. So in narcotics, Eddie, you had the undercover, you had the ghost, and you had the field team. You had the apprehension, P-van, as they call it. That's where they watch the prisoners, and the chase car. And you had the leader and the AO, the arresting officer. The ghost was the person that blended into the street like he was just living in the neighborhood or Jane Q Public, while the undercover, whether it was a case by, no matter the amount, when we say case by, it could be a small amount for a feds case or a big conglomerate of drugs or guns. The ghost in either of those situations would blend into the street like he lives there or walking or hanging out, and he would relay to the field team what is transpiring between the undercover and the potential people that we were apprehending. If it was long term, then they would stay out there. If it was short term, then it would be an arrest after the undercover was gone safe. So you would have to be able to talk on the mic. There was a hidden mic, and act like you weren't talking, almost like lip syncing, or a ventriloquist kind of thing. And God forbid there was some distress signals in case the situation got a little hairy, because usually the field team, and Eddie, equated to our block, say we're trying to buy drugs on 4 First, 141 and River, and the field team may be on 145 in Broadway or 1339 in Amsterdam, someplace, you know what I'm saying, out of sight. So if the situation became, if we got a distress signal, say there was 3 or 4 guys at the undercover, he or she was getting engaged with, and it got hairy, I would move in and extract the officer. And if I had to fight or get into a fight in the street, I would get in the fight and extract the officer and mop up the whole block and then get the officer out of there and we just leave. Now, sometimes people got arrested and some people just got left there with no teeth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, certain things happen like that. So that was the goal. And I was able to do that. And, you know, for those that in here that work with me, they'll tell you they felt safe. And that's all that mattered. We all got, no undercover ever got hurt on my watch. And thank God of that. That means the world to me. And it's the most accolades I can get is when the officer says, yo, please, can you ghost me? I feel safe with you. That's what it was. So that's what it is. Shout out to Vera. Shout out, she says, Stefania says, it looks like they weren't trained properly. What changes can be made? First and foremost, officers need to see, this is where I have a problem. Officers say they can't do their job. Do your job. You'll be backed if it's done properly. You understand what I'm trying to say? We can't live in a pity-pat world. You can't tell me I can't hit you with a closed fist. The closed fist cannot come when you're in cuffed. You know what I'm saying? The closed fist cannot come when your hands are being held by other officers. But if you're kicking and punching, I can hit you with a closed fist. There's no slapping. Can you see some? Look, listen, there's no slapping you on the floor and I'm slapping you and you punching at me. That's not happening, B. That's not happening. So people, please get that out your head. Get that out your head. Now, we can sit there and tussle and wrestle. Case in point, they tried to show that video. We showed that video of them wrestling, trying to wrestle with this dude. That Asian officer was trying to hit him. Now, did those hits look like they really was hurting? It was hitting him on his back. You know what that looked like? No disrespect. It looked like you got in an argument when you was a teenager, and you either you was mad and your girl didn't want you to leave the house, and she started hitting on you because she grabbed your keys and shit. That's what it looked like. I was like, what kind of shit was that, man?
Oh God!
What you mean we're gonna break up? No, you can't go. And then she pulled on you, and then you like, yeah, get up. Come on, man. I don't mean to make joke of this shit, but it is what it is. Yo, listen, let me read some of the comments. What's up, Darren? How are you, man? Long time no see, my dojo brother. I think we read that about hey Evelyn, how are you? Dolly said the problem some of these kids have they never had a fist fight. You right there. Listen. Thank you, Deborah. I'm glad you caught some of this live talk. Yo, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Like you said, Dolly, you said Alvin Bragg would try the cops. We hope not. Everybody that's chiming in right now, next week, 7:00 on the dot, we have Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg here. Have your questions ready. Watch us from YouTube, Facebook. Tell your friends. Let them know. Anybody. Dolly, let the cops know. Everybody, I'm gonna let all the cops know if you want to come in. With these, these other cops, they get a little ruthless. They might curse words. Kill Alvin. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. Listen, he's a man. You sign up for the gig, to the winner goes the spoils. So, this is what's happening. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. TJ, what's happening, man? Everybody, appreciate you. I appreciate you all. I'm trying to read all the comments. Well, in my day out of the academy, you go. Word. Roscoe, Marlene is in the building. 40 said, when you go through the whole process and sign your life away, you know what you probably happened in the blue line of duty. Y'all all the first line. Well, yeah, you know what's so funny? Let me just comment on that real quick. Any officer that's in this group, you do sign up, there's a possibility of getting killed. You know that every day you go to work, but you don't go there to get killed. I mean, you play sports. There's a possibility that you could get your leg broke, or you could, in football, you could get a concussion, but you ain't trying to get one. So there's all risk takers. There's people that paint on bridges. A shout out to JC in the building. People paint on bridges. You know, God forbid you can fall, but you try to use things, safety precautions. That was an ambush. What we're seeing now, we're seeing ambushes. We're seeing people that are prepared to kill officers. That is a whole nother mentality that we're dealing with. It just happened exactly. An officer was coming home. Officer was going to work.
Yes,
and they
beach channel. Yeah.
The stuff that we were talking in the green room, Chuck, the other two officers.
Right.
So, like, what is this? Is that just like 8 officers in New York City alone?
Mm-hmm.
It's not even, what is it? 34 days into his mayoral legacy?
Mm-hmm.
And he had to deal with that. This is just New York. I told you all earlier about the officer that was home. Somebody tried to break in his house. The deputy or the sheriff comes there and shoots him, trying to apprehend the perp. He shoots him. What kind of shit is that? People getting, listen, we talked about this. Officers right now, some people feel that officers have done this to themselves. I'm a firm believer in this. If I dislike you, then my anger is towards you. But we seem to gauge, I don't like, we got these Karens out there. So now you don't like white people. White people don't like black people. So they don't like all the black people. We don't like all the Spanish people. You don't like all the police officers. Kind of gauge people for who they are, one person at a time, everybody. We don't need to just, clump everybody up. Now, what we have seen is there are similarities, you know what I'm saying, in who some people are. It is what it is. There are some similarities, but let's try to have an open mind and not put ourselves in these kind of situations. Stay safe, Dolly. Hope to see you next Monday. Everybody, this is Real Talk. Chuck, give him some words of some positive affirmation. Knicks getting their behind kick. John, listen, Brian Flores, I wish you all the best. Everybody out there, please let me know what you think about that situation. You know how to reach me, inbox me, text me. What was that saying? On YouTube, he said, there's a saying, hard times create strong men, hard men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Men are our generation are weak. I'm sorry to say. Yeah, some are weak, bro. So, Chuck, let's give us some positive affirmation to get out of here. We might have to go look for Kevin. He might find him around Central Park.
Yeah, we might. Yeah. I hope he ain't like tied down to a rock or something.
Yeah. A bunch of squirrels nibbling at his nipples or something.
Yeah. Pigeons, pecking at his head.
Little chipmunk.
The bottom line is this, man. I mean, all I can say to everyone is that please, I don't know what's going on with the world as we speak. It seems that the overall words such as understanding, love, compassion, they seem to be second. No one is even thinking about those words at this particular point, So continue to love those that you love. Be there for those that you care about the most. And, constantly, please be safe out there, because there are people that you walk by that are very unassuming and for no reason, you have elderly people being assaulted. You have kids being shot. You have people being pushed in front of trains. I think the world has lost their minds to some degree, and we all have to be out of our own space and realize what's happening around us. We can't be so locked down looking at our phones or being distracted when we have so many people around us. So please just be safe, and be conscious of your whereabouts and the people that are surrounding you. But more importantly, regardless of what's going on externally, please continue to give internally the people that you care about and be there for them as well. All right. And peace and blessings to everybody, and be safe.
You know what's so funny, Mark? You must have did your research. I'm gonna call you Stats 3. You know what I'm saying? I think he's right. Did we have Jerry Reese as
We
a
have
G?
one black GM, and he's right. We did.
Jerry Reese. You're right, Mark. You're right. My
He's
bad.
right.
Let me tell you something.
You're
It's so small. It's like talking about, yo, I had a great grandparent. I don't know. I ain't never seen him. I ain't never met him. So you're right, though. We did.
Yeah,
Jerry Reese.
we had one.
That was around the Taylor time, right? That was around
Right.
Lawrence Taylor time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we was winning at all cylinders. That shit was out. Let me just read some comments real quick. Norman said, "We know what we signed up for. It takes a special person to put our life on the line for what we get paid. Paid people should know we do a job for the love of it." Absolutely. Stefania said, something. She says, "I heard that this recruitment is at an all-time low. How sad. What do you guys think about that?" Listen, I mean, I don't
You
know.
can't inspire people. You can't inspire people to take a job that for three things. One, the overall, unfortunately, based on the issues associated with George Floyd and the other things that were happening across the country, and the big defunding the police department, didn't make the profession look very desirable, right? No one wants to come near it, because the minute you tell someone you're a police officer, God forbid you're a black man, you're referred to as an Uncle Tom or a sellout or something to that nature, right? Yeah. Then two, you have this particular state, based on the way that the laws have been restructured between bail reform. It's like an actual revolving door. So the minute I lock somebody up, before I even get finished with the paperwork, he's literally walking in and walking out, right? And now three, you have something such as the quality life, which things that were maybe on the subpar bottom basement, but if you dealt with the issues associated with quality of life, it kind of put a handicap on the larger issues. People that were pissing in the street, right? Or maybe even like guys riding their bikes, even though people thought it was a bad thing about people riding their bikes on the sidewalk. And I'm sorry, I see these delivery guys and I'm freaking walking on the sidewalk and they're zooming by me and they're looking like I'm an idiot because I'm on the sidewalk and they're zooming by me with these e-bikes. But that's a different story. But when you have those three dynamics where the quality of life offenses are pretty much something that's non-existent and not being addressed, you have bail reform, and then you have a profession that's being somewhat demoralized by the public. I mean, now it may change the dynamic. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate it takes two officers to be actually massacred for people to look at it differently. But prior to that, being a police officer was not something that anybody wanted to go near, because the public and the society itself was totally against the police department. So that's going to kill recruitment, and no one's going to want this job based on that. So we first need to reestablish that, just like anything else, this is a calling. This is an actual profession. And what we need to stop doing, we need to stop calling police officers cops, because cops, whether or not people understand that or not, is a derogatory statement to a profession. All right. When you see a doctor, you say doctor or physician. Calling them a doc is a disrespect, because the amount of schooling they went through to become a doctor, they have been afforded and entitled to be called doctor or physician. There should be no shortcuts. So if you're looking at the police department or being a police officer as a profession, you should always make sure that people refer to you as a police officer, not as a cop. And that's my personal opinion.
No, I respect that. I totally do. I think it's an excellent point. That people always say, "Yo, you were a cop." I said, "No, I was a police officer." Cop is a derogatory term. Like you said, you can't call me the N-word. You can call me a black man. You can call me a man. Like, case in point, you're not going to minimize my profession because of your lack of knowledge of what I do, or what you deem you feel what I've done. You know what I'm saying? So let's knock this off. Everybody deserves their titles. You know what I'm saying? Like, true. Eunice right here, I call her Eunice because I'm reading, but when I see her in the street, I call her mom. You understand what I'm saying? Because like somebody, a young cat in the street might call me OG or uncle, or call you OG or uncle, because the bottom line is I grew up with her daughter and she deserves those props. So let's understand. And what we need to get back, like, it was so funny. I had a conversation earlier before we get out of here. I'm trying to get out of here, but I love Real Talk is real. And somebody was like, "Yo, I need you to come and talk to the gangs in the 2-6, because I hear Manhattanville and Grant, is popping off at each other. Yo, these little young effers ain't gonna listen to me. You know what I'm saying? And I heard they robbing people at Columbia. Now, see, that's gonna be a problem. You start robbing them at Columbia, shit gonna get real hot and heavy in there. It's gonna change because Columbia is a moneymaker. You know, and the worst thing you want to hear is somebody to tell you, a white child, or person, any student, you can't go to Harlem, which is just a block away. You know what I'm saying? Damn near. But Lika, you was telling me about that, like about college over here where you went, right? You know, certain things you have to always watch where you go and where you can't go. So, I mean, everybody, if you're not going to get out there and help in some way, maybe you just pray for a better world and change. Listen, instead of complaining and talking smack, Rock, what's up, baby? He said, considerable is not a constable is not a derogatory. Listen, Rock, we're gonna get you on the show one day, man. We gotta get you on the show. Shout out to everybody. I always extend the olive branch. Anybody you ever want to come on and talk live and share your opinions and thoughts, you're always welcome. Please be respectful of this. You know, we have different ethnicities, we have different ethnicities, people listening. Not come out. We can say, you know, we can have real talk, but listen, let's not try to Whoopi Goldberg this shit up. You know what I'm saying? Nobody trying to get like that. Articulate yourself in a proper manner. The bottom line is, listen, Alvin Bragg, Monday. Have your questions. Let people know. Let your friends know. Share Real Talk. The next Monday, we have Dr. Marilyn Quarter. Maybe we need to discuss the suicide. Coming up, maybe hopefully in this month of February, we have the lawyer, Darnell Crossland, right? Darnell Crossland. We're waiting for his confirmation date. He can come on and talk about Lawrence Smithfield's case. Also, for those, what's the actor Michael Williams? I forgot. Michael Williams. I forgot that played on The Wire. His people that sold him drugs, death by drugs, got apprehended. This might be a similar case. We have to find out in regards to that. Ahmaud Arbery people, the McMichaels, they were rejected for their plea to go to a certain federal do their time in federal court. That was not that. Respect to the family of the young lady Chesley Crissette. Respects. Please send your prayers out to that family. Also, we have Melba Wilson coming on the 21st. We also have Lenny Green and Indy coming back. Lenny Green of WBLS. He was chiming in with us tonight. They'll be back in February. Leon Ellis, formerly the owner of Mocha, but he owns Chocolat and Harlem Underground, will be here on the 28th for Pastor Kevin Graves. So, Pastor Graves, you don't have to worry about anybody speaking on your show that night. He will be speaking with you. And every Wednesday, we have Chuck and Kevin. We have Kevin and Chuck. Like we said, Kevin is right now doing his birthday stuff. He's in Central Park right now playing with the squirrels. He's in somewhere. Quentin Carr, what's going on? Please, if you're just coming on now, go back, look at it on YouTube, or go back on Facebook Live. Shout out to all the people that I haven't seen in so long that chimed in. Roll, Stan, appreciate you guys. Chuck, it's always a pleasure to chop it up with you. This is what we do. Listen, pleasure, think about it. Will the NFL support Brian Flores, the black players, and maybe one day think about boycotting? We never know. We will tell. This is just the beginning of that pendulum. Knicks, this is what I'm talking about. Julius Randle dribbling down the court, almost got stripped. I'm tired of him. I'm ready for him to get out of here. Everybody, I love you. Appreciate you all. Chuck,
peace and blessings.
Talk to you in the green room, baby.
All right, brother.
YouTubers. Thank you, Facebookers. Talk to you in a minute, everybody. Peace and love.
All right, man. Peace.
Yeah.